Hi everyone, welcome back to another video from Bhutan, the land of Thunder Dragon. Today we are going to explore all that's there in the capital of Bhutan, that is Thimphu. Thimphu is one of the cities or one of the capitals which does not have any commercial airport. It's quite unique, isn't it? It is also the only capital city in the entire world which does not have any traffic signal. And now we're going to see the kind of discipline that vehicles have when they're out and about on the roads. Look at the queue with which, the patience with which the traffic is moving here. I have not muted the background sound, and you can clearly hear that there is no honking as well. People have stopped at the zebra crossing to let the pedestrians cross as well. This is how discipline and this is how civic sense should be in reality. Look at how people are easily crossing through the zebra crossing. The cars seem to be waiting for the other fellow drivers to pass and then making an exit from here. And now let us also have an understanding of how the vehicle registration numbers look like. For all the privately owned vehicles, you will see the code that starts with BP, which is Bhutan Private. For all taxis or commercial taxis, you will see BT, which is Bhutan Taxi. For all government vehicles, the code starts with BG, which is Bhutan Government. For the royal family, there is Bhutan Royal Guard and specially reserved number plates for the king and the queen. This is a complex where they have the post office, and there was a unique and a very cute shop nearby. So I thought, let's go in and see what kind of items can I, just have a look out here. So you can see the sound bowls, you can see the hand woven scarves, stoles, and shawls. These are all very unique to the land of Bhutan, and this is what most tourists end up buying as well as souvenirs and mementos. There were some decorative masks, quite a bit of jewelry, some fridge magnets, which is a must when you visit any country to get back a piece of the land as a memory. And then after spending few minutes there, I just ventured into the local market and I saw some women selling their fresh produce from the farms, like fruits, vegetables, and they were quite colorful, quite fresh. Since I visited during the springtime of the year, you can see that the produce is absolutely fresh and they had the asparagus season at that time. Then I stood there waiting for some time and just looking at how people are very patiently crossing the street, and you can see that they are just crossing from the zebra crossing. The crosses that you see on the road in a circle, that means that you cannot park your vehicle there. So you can see that there is no car parked there and the space is just left so that people get space to cross from the zebra crossing. Now just look at this. People will wait, let the cars pass by, or the cars will wait and let people pass by. There's a volunteer or a traffic policeman who is navigating, but I'm sure it's a pretty easy job for him and or her. This is the main market road, and here you can also see a traffic policeman who is navigating the traffic and making signals, hand gestures, and the cars passing by without any honking. As I said earlier in my video, there are no traffic signals in Thimphu. And this is how people navigate through busy traffic junctions. This is the main market road of Thimphu city. This traffic policeman is also known as the dancing cop of Bhutan because the hand gestures look like he is making some dance moves. And then after some time, the sun set, and I ventured to what is known as one of the biggest fruits, vegetables market. It's also called the Sabzi Bazaar of Thimphu. And I was just amazed at the size and scale of this place. Everywhere I could see, I just could lay my eyes on fresh produce, fresh vegetables, fresh fruits. It was all very interesting and very good to see. The locals shop from here for days and weeks, and it's pretty convenient and the prices are affordable. So it becomes like a wholesale market from where people can stock up on their weekly or monthly stuff for the household. You'll see mushrooms, you'll see every fruit, every vegetable you can think of. Now Bhutan does not really grow vegetables or a lot of fruits, so it's the basic ones, but they do also import a lot of stuff from other neighboring countries. So you will see a section here which is for the produce or the products that they import, and this is just the ground floor. There is another floor on top which has the local produce. So out here you can see that they have labeled every item. This is the upper floor, and this is all about the local produce of Bhutan. You'll see the herbs, you'll see the spices which they have sun dried, and this is very frequently used. This was natural honey, a lot of grains like rajma, kidney beans, that is. Look at this, the honey with the comb. This is the upper floor, and the one below is again another huge floor. Fresh eggs, honey, spices, a lot of pickles and fresh asparagus. Here you have all the grains and pulses. Now there's a specific type of rice that is very staple to Bhutan, and that's cooked in almost every meal that you have in Bhutan by the locals, and that is red rice. So up ahead in the video you'll see a lot of varieties of red rice that people were also selling. Look at this, different varieties of red rice, and this is quite popular here. Even in the restaurants you'll see a must-have dish being mentioned as red rice. There's also something called as butter rice, which is used as a snack. So they just saute it on the pan and have it as a light snack, and that's called butter rice. These are the herb teas. the chili powder, the local chili powder, which they really enjoy having a spicy meal. So they use a lot of chili powder. Yeah, so like different stalls but similar products. I was just trying to see what are the unique products, what are the local items that I can get some more information about. They also had dried fish. It's a landlocked country, so they don't really have a sea around them. Across the entire country, there are borders with, there are land borders with other countries. So mostly they get their fishes from lakes and rivers, and then they either have it fresh or they dry them and have it as a dried fish. So this is what some of the stall owners were also selling. And then the last section was all about the fruits, um, which most of them were imported from other countries. But also during my Bhutan local travel, I saw a lot of orange trees, and my guide told me that orange is something that is local to Bhutan. So, orange is grown a lot here. However, the other fruits are mostly imported from other countries. All the fruits look so fresh, isn't it? That was wrap of day 1 in Thimphu, and the next day early morning we left for the first stop of the day, which is the Buddha statue. And it's up in the hills overlooking the city of Thimphu and had great panoramic views all around. There's an entry fee of 100 rupees or INR 100 for Indian nationals, and a higher fee for the foreign nationals. And I think I should mention here that Indian rupee is accepted everywhere in Bhutan, and the exchange rate is also 1 is to 1. So there's absolutely no problem for currency exchange or any kind of transaction. So this is how the Buddha point or the Buddha statue looked like, and there were mountain peaks all around it. You can spend some time here. You can go inside. There's a memorial building inside or below the statue, and there are different paintings depicting the life of Buddha and how there were different rulers who visited the land of Bhutan and the different stories around Buddha. You can enjoy some nice views and some fresh, cool air here, and then head to your next stop for the day. So the next stop is National Textiles Museum, which showcases the different clothes more on the traditional side for Bhutan. The Kho and Gira, these are the names of the traditional costumes. So Gho is worn by men and Kira by women, and this place showcases the different weaving techniques, the different materials, and it also houses the costumes that were worn by the royal family, the king, queens, and so on. They also show a documentary about the whole country where you get different types of silk and how the whole weaving process is traditional to which place in Bhutan. They've also listed some important information about the whole country, the national language, the national tree being cypress, the national flower blue poppy, national bird raven, national sport, archery. And here is where they've shown the different areas with different weaving techniques. And they've also kept some traditional yarns, so you can see that if it's the sheep wool, then how does the wool or the yarn or the thread looks like. If it's coming from yak, then what is the quality of the thread or the weaving material, and different various other sources of thread or yarn, and how the final product is, which is used to make clothes. These are different type of cotton material or cotton threads, silk threads, and that's how the final output or the clothes or the dresses come out to be. They also have a small demonstration of how the traditional dress needs to be wrapped around. It looks more like a wraparound or a skirt, especially for ladies, and for men, it's a wraparound through their upper and lower body, and it can have some pockets internally through this wrapping technique, which is very helpful to store their mobile, wallets, keys, and so on. This is the outside of the National Textile Museum. Such a pretty design, such a pretty color of the architecture of the entire structure. Then we proceeded to the next section of the building from the Textile Museum side. The next section was where they had these live weaving sessions, or the weavers weaving live in front of the audience. So you can see how difficult and how tedious the whole process is, and it takes a lot of time to complete one material or one product. It's something which requires a lot of concentration, a lot of skill, a lot of hand-eye coordination. So hats off to all the weavers who are still using the traditional weaving methods. Once the weaving is completed, you need to cut out and discard the threads from the other side of the finished product. So that is what these ladies were doing out here. So that's all about the National Textile Museum. Let's move to the next stop for the day, and that's simply Bhutan, a place where you get a glimpse of all the traditional activities, the culture, the food, and they take you through a 45-minute to 1 hour tour of different cultural aspects of the country.
Before, because when they just wanted to eat and sleep, they were lazy. Okay? They had only one excuse, that was they worked outside. But now, if they don't cook, they will be let out of the house.
So they'll also explain you about their utensils, the different techniques of cooking in a traditional setup. So let's see what the lady guide is informing us.
Okay, so these two churners here are used for making butter tea. Okay, so they put salt, water, butter, and some herbal tea leaves like this. You can see leaves. So they forage for herbs, combine it together to form this. So there is no actual tea leaf in it. And they turn it like this for 10 to 15 minutes. Then they boil and serve you. And this is for making butter. You just have to put milk and churn. So after making butter, they put it in a container like this made out of bamboo. Okay? So it keeps the butter fresh and stops it from getting moldy. The people in the higher lands, the nomad, still use this kind of container to keep their butter.
This is how they dry different spices and different vegetables outside their houses and store their products as well. So you can see a traditional ladder, the way that they have hung the spices. And then we went into a restaurant or a seating space kind of an area where they had people serving us their traditional butter tea, a saffron rice which was a more on the sweeter side, and the savory butter rice. So this is how the saffron rice looks like, the one in yellow. This is the butter rice, which was more of a dry snack, and then the butter tea, and all the traditional ways of cooking, the stove, the pots, the cooking pots, and wood being used to cook the meals. And then they were presenting a traditional dance while the guests were enjoying the tea and the saffron rice. Here, the guide was explaining about the traditional wooden bath, which is more like a wooden bathtub. And there are two sections. One section hosts the hot stones, and the other is where you lie down and enjoy a hot bath. And you don't really, touch the stones as such. And we'll see that in detail in our next video as well. These are the traditional or the very vintage windows. And then the last section was their traditional sports, which is archery and the dart game, and they were just engaging and interacting with the guests here. After the immersive traditional and cultural experience, it was time to enjoy some peace and calm at their city garden. Look at how the entry of the garden is and how pretty and beautiful flowers were blooming all around. I was just busy capturing the beauty of the flowers and the plants and just taking in a lot of fresh air as much as I could in my limited time there. Just recharging and refreshing my lungs to restart once again. The spring bloom all around. From the garden, you could also see the local buildings and the houses all around, the mountain all around. Thimphu is a city at an elevation, so you will see a lot of uphill and downhill paths and roads. But it was a refreshing change to see such a pretty garden right in the center of the city. And since it was the springtime, a lot of sakura or cherry blossom trees were also blooming. So you can see the Thimphu river passing right by the garden, and there's a walkway or a bridge of sorts that they have created around it to enjoy the views of the river passing by. So just enjoying few moments of calm and peace in this garden, looking at all the beautiful views all around, and then heading to our next stop for the day. Saying goodbye to this pretty garden, the pretty flowers, and moving to our next spot for the day. Back to the market, and this is where you have the heritage market, as they call it. It's basically probably close to half a kilometer of stretch with these kind of shops or stalls next to each other, and you can just purchase any souvenirs, any handicraft items from this stretch. So I just thought, let me give it a look if there's anything interesting that I can spot. You can see these hand woven baskets, a lot of handicraft stuff, some wall hangings, scarves, stoles, handbags, jackets, their traditional dresses. So if you have any interest for any of these items, these shops are definitely a good place to explore and get your hands on something which is good to take home as a souvenir or gift for others as well. You can also see police patrolling through the streets of the city, so it's quite safe and you feel secure venturing out even during the evening time. So this is very close to sunset, and I thought I'll capture some evening shots as well from the market city. So walking back towards the hotel, because here everything is at a walking distance, and the hotel I was staying in was right at the center of the marketplace. So all the spots around Thimphu were quite easily approachable on foot, and you also get to see the local life, experience the local culture, and see a lot of interesting stuff that the local people tend to follow as habits and rituals in the city when you are walking around and seeing for yourself, rather than just sticking to the tours and travels itinerary and just exploring through the vehicles. I definitely prefer keeping a good balance of it, so I get to see the local side of the city as well. Look at this, it was slightly late in the evening by now, and you can see that some of the shops are open, but it's still very safe for people to venture out on the streets. There are locals, there are taxis easily available, and there are a lot of tourists who are exploring the different shops, the different cafes. So you don't really feel any kind of, you don't feel scary venturing out here. So that's how I spent 2 days in the capital city of Thimphu, and I really enjoyed the vibes it had. Very friendly people, interesting things that I got to know and I got to see. A lot of people here still wear the traditional dresses, you can see all around through the video. So that was also something good to know. With this, I would really like to thank you for watching the video till here. Thank you. See you in the next one.